Hey YouTube, Matty's Daddy 12. I've been on a little bit of a sabbatical as of late. I needed some time off, so I took it. It is what it is. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff going on around here at the house, and a lot of stuff going on with my family and school and whatnot. So I took some time off. Still been trying to give you guys some dual videos and whatnot, but I needed some time to do some things on my own. So yeah. I needed the break, so I took it. Yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm going to try to start bringing you guys some more content, and I want to start bringing you guys a series about something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, and that is goat control and lessons that you can learn from goat control. Now, if you guys have been keeping up with my with LegitYGO, which is the site that I work for and that I write for, you guys can read some of my most recent articles there, and they are about goat control and about lessons you can learn from goat control. And I wanted to make those into video form and give them to you guys here, and hopefully you guys can learn something about some goat control also. So this is going to be the first of those videos. I'm going to try to make several videos on lessons that you can learn from goat control, and this is going to be the first of those. And in those videos, this first one, I want to talk about two things. First, what is goat control, which is going to be really short, and then two, why is it important for a shop to have goat control decks on hand? So first, goat control is the format, the advanced format from 2005. It started in April and lasted until September. It is referred to as goat control because the most popular deck at the time focused on, it was a control-based deck that focused on using Scapegoat, Metamorphosis, and turning one of your goat tokens into a Thousand Eyes Restrict, and using the control aspects of Thousand Eyes Restrict to control the game, to control the tempo of the game, and to control the pace of the game. So that's how it gained its name. It was a format that was rather simple. However, if you weren't playing the goat control deck during this format, like there were some others that you could play, like Beast Down was another one that was really popular then. But if you weren't playing goat control, then you were kind of handicapping yourself, and you weren't playing the best deck of the format, because goat control was dominated by the goat control deck. So that is goat control, and it's gained a lot of popularity as of late. There's been several pro players that have really got onto the goat control idea and concept, and have kind of ran with it. One of them being Patrick Hoban. I know he plays goat control from time to time with the Leverett brothers and with Desmond Johnson. Desmond Johnson's actually been a huge advocate for the goat control format. He really seems to enjoy it a lot. And like, it always seems like he's got a goat control deck in his hand if he's not playing in the regular tournaments. But yeah, so goat control has gained a lot of popularity, and I think it is awesome that it is, because I feel goat control is a great learning tool for people that want to try to get better at Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel there are a lot of lessons that you can learn from playing goat control that you can translate into the game now. But I'm going to talk about all of those subjects in some later videos. In this one, the next topic I want to talk about is going to be why I think it is important for hobby shops to have goat control decks on hand. Now, I know a lot of my viewers are not the owners of hobby shops. However, I do feel there are going to be a lot of you guys that will have either influence at your local hobby shops or your local card shops, or you may actually even work for your local card shops. And what I would say to you guys is take some of this information that I'm going to give you and go to your owners and say, hey, here's my idea. I would like to have these here, or I would even like to try to host tournaments for this format. and see if we can't gain some popularity for this in your local area. And this is something that Chris Perovic, a former star in this game, has talked about in an ARG article that he wrote. But I'm going to talk about more along the lines of like how it benefits the store itself. So they're at Legit MTG, which is the home store for LegitYGO.com. Now, it happens nearly every week, if not every 2 to 3 days. As you walk into the store, the first thing that you see on your left is the YuGiOh singles booth. And it never fails. We'll have a guy that'll walk in, "Oh, YuGiOh. I used to play that back in high school or middle school, or I used to have some friends in my neighborhood that played, and we all got together and we would play and everything." And they always want to look through and try to find the cards that they used to play with and all that stuff. And they're always quick to be, "Oh, well, I decided to quit at this time," or "I decided to quit whenever synchros were introduced," or they've all got their reasons and everything. And you always have like a short little conversation with them, and it always seems to die off. And then they move on to whatever the next product is that they came to look at or whatnot. But how awesome would it be if after saying, "Hey, here, YuGiOh, I used to play this and such and everything," you get your short little conversation. How cool would it be if after that conversation ended, the store employee says, "Well, we've actually got a couple of old format YuGiOh decks. Would you like to play a game?" And then he had the chance to sit down with a potential customer and say, "Yeah, we're going to play Go Control, the 2005 format." And they sit down and they play them a short little game of YuGiOh. And, well, maybe not short because that's not what Go Control is known for. But they're going to play a Go Control game. And this gives the chance for that old player to play with cards like Sangan and play with Graceful Charity and Delinquent Duo and Pot of Greed, the Trinity. Get to play with those cards again, and get to play with Thousand Eyes Restrict, and get to remember a bit of the way YuGiOh was, and what they used to play and stuff, and kind of give them a chance to be nostalgic, if you would. Now this benefits you in just a couple of different ways as a store. One, the customer that just came in could get nostalgic and say, "I really enjoyed this. I don't really have the time to play, but I want to have something to hold on to remember, playing YuGiOh." And then all of a sudden he buys, I don't know, a Jinzo or an Air Knight Parshath or a Metamorphosis or whatever his favorite card may have been. So he buys some insignificant $3 card or dollar card or whatever. And like, it's those small sales that you can grab like that will that'll keep the lights on for you. But anyway, like, you can help to sell some items that may or may not have sold. And when I say something like that, I'm referring to like cards like Metamorphosis is banned. So the common versions of Metamorphosis normally will not sell well. Scapegoat, Graceful Charity, Air Knight Parshath, Exerion Universe. These are all cards that were used at that time that aren't going to move very well. Asura Priest. So if you could get Go Control popular in your area again, then this is going to give you the chance to sell some of those cards that you've been sitting on for a long time and that are eventually going to make their way into bulk boxes, and you're going to end up just giving them away, in bulk boxes of some way. So like you're able to make more cards relevant in your area again, which means you have the opportunity to sell more cards. And a great way to do this, again, is if you have a couple of Goat Control decks available to you, and during your local tournament, you grab one of the current players and you say, "Hey, why don't you come here? We're going to play a game of Goat Control." It catches on around your area, and then all of a sudden you've got 3 or 4 players like we do here at Legit MTG that are building goat control decks on top of building their regular advanced format decks. So again, it gives you the chance to sell some of these cards that you wouldn't have normally sold. But getting back to that nostalgic player again, the guy that came in and he sat and he played, and maybe playing the game of Go Control sparks that fire again in him, and he wants to play. He wants to play on a regular regular basis now. So now he's going to take that $20 or $30 that he has in his pocket. And instead of buying some of the cards that he wants to have the tangible thing to look back on and say, yeah, I remember you playing Genzo. And he says, you know what? Give me 3 of those Lightsworn structure decks. I'm going to throw those together, and I'm going to play a Lightsworn deck in your next local tournament. Or he says, give me 3 of those Geargia structure decks. I'm going to build a Geargia deck, and I'm going to play in your next tournament now. These are, the structure decks are decks that they can buy 3 of, build a somewhat competitive deck, and be able to enter one of the tournaments and play. So maybe now you've turned that nostalgic player into another current player. And current players are what really helps you keep the lights on. Those are the guys that really help you be able to function as a store. But along with trying to reintroduce old players and maybe getting some of the current players to catch on and say they want to play Go Control, another thing that you want to keep in mind is that you have new players. You have people that will come in and say, hey, I saw some guys at school playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm kind of interested in it. I want to play some Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, now you've got a new kid coming in, and you're going to be introducing them to monsters and fusion monsters and spells and traps. And beyond that, now you've got to introduce them into tuners and synchro monsters and exceed monsters and now pendulum monsters. And how much easier would it be if you had a simpler way to teach a new player how to play, where all he needs to worry about is, I can only normal summon or set once per turn. I can special summon as many times as I have it available to me. Anytime I play a card like a premature burial, the cost has to be paid upon activation, and he gets to learn the basics of Yu-Gi-Oh before you start introducing him into more of the complex exceed summoning, synchro summoning, pendulum summoning, the complex cards like that. Or even like you try to take a guy fresh off the street and say, okay, well, I'm going to play Shaddoll Fusion, and because you got a card from your extra deck, I get to use materials from my grave. Oh, well, they're both going to activate on a separate chain, but Shaddoll Fusion's got to resolve first, which is going to bring out Construct, but its effect's going to activate on another chain. Oh, and one of those cards that I sent is a Squamata, so it's going to activate on another chain. And now you've got to try to explain to somebody that's like, wait a second, I get to normal summon this guy next turn. Oh, wait, you've got 3 chains forming at one time, and they're going to resolve, and I got to try to figure out, like, the beauty of Go Control is you don't have all of that kind of stuff like you do with Shaddolls, or you do with Pendulum Summoning and the Quillfort or the Cliffort deck and the Burning Abyss deck. All the complex decks that you have right now, you don't have as much complex decks in the Go Control format as you do now. So, like, it's a lot easier to teach somebody. Now, that's not to say that it's not as skillful, but it's a more straightforward, my card does this when this happens. It's a very straightforward way of playing the game, and it makes for a lot simpler way to teach a new player how to play. And if a new player can get a firm foundation in some of the basics of Yu-Gi-Oh, then they will be able to learn the new complex level of Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit easier and a little bit faster. So now not only are you building a new player that's going to be able to understand the game a little bit more, but they're going to be more competitive faster also. So that means that one of the things that you want to do whenever you start playing is win, Like, it makes you feel good. It's not fun losing. It's more fun winning. And if you teach these kids basics as they move up, then they're able to win faster, which means they're having more fun, which means you've just created a regular customer. And regular customers, again, keep on the lights. So keeping 2 Go Control decks there at the shop. Now I don't have my deck box on me, but I have 3 Go Control decks built. I have the Max Suffrage deck built that he won Nats with. I have the Chris Perovic deck built from Boston Shonen Jump. Shonen Jump. That was before it was a YCS. And then I have my personal build, which is all blinged out because it's got to be, because that's who I am. But yeah, so I have those 3 decks, and I try to keep as much as I can. I try to keep those 2, the Max Suffrage and the Chris Perovic builds. I try to keep those at the shop as much as I can, so when somebody comes in and they want to play goats, they can. It's there. So there you go, guys. That's some of the things that I feel like a shop can benefit from playing Go Control, or having Go Control decks there. So I'm going to have another, more videos coming up soon that are going to talk about some of the things that you can learn and that you can transfer into your current game from playing Go Control. But for right now, make sure you head over to LegitYGO and check out all of my all of the articles over there. Make sure you also check out personally my articles, because I think they're great, about Go Control that are coming up here now. And any of you guys that are close to your shop owners, make sure you take some of this information to them and you show it to them, and you show them that they have the opportunity to make some money on some of these cards they can't move, and they have the opportunity to turn some of these just new players, into regular customers, and maybe you guys can get some fun things started at your locals. So there you go, guys. Make sure you head over to LegitYGO and check out all the articles, buy some stuff from our store, and like always, subscribe, comment down below, show us how much you love us.